I just want to say up front that this video title and probably thumbnail are very clickbaity, but I can assure you that unfortunately, this video title is not an exaggeration. So how'd your 2023 go, Caitlin? Funny you should ask. I literally started the year by being impaled by my floor. What? Buckle up, y'all. Here's what happened. Picture this. Your boyfriend of 4 years gets a new job and finally moves to your city and into your apartment. 2 weeks in, you're having a beautiful couch you bought together being delivered to replace the well-worn cat scratch love seat you've been making do with for the last 4 years. It gets delivered. It's amazing. You've done your prep work and bought some double-sided sticky tape that's supposed to prevent your cat from scratching this new pristine canvas. But you get worried and impatient that your cat will scratch it before your boyfriend gets home from work, and you think, I can wrangle this tape situation on my own. I've been a strong, independently living woman for years now. I got this. You don't got this. Everything sticks together. There's so much space on the couch that needs to be covered. The little sticky paper won't come off. You finally get to the last piece. You're sitting cross-legged on the 100-plus-year-old, rather worse for the wear rental hardwood floors. You rip that last piece and slide across the floor into victory. Except you actually slide right into a splintered piece of the floor that you just noticed like 30 seconds before and thought, oh, I need to warn Eric about that so he doesn't accidentally stab his foot. I've never been stabbed before. I mean, look at me. Why would I have? I can confidently say, though, that it is one of the worst experiences ever. 0 out of 10 stars. Would not recommend. So basically, I kind of slid across the floor sideways, and I like to say I wasn't wearing safety-rated leggings. I didn't know that was even needed in my own living room, but here we are. And the splinter caught my legging, and I guess because of the force I'd thrown myself across the floor, like the chaotic girl I am, shoved it right into my right butt cheek. Yeah. So now I'm in pain. I have a piece of ancient floor wood about 1/4 inch thick sticking out of my butt. I go to pull it out because, get it out of my body, and hoo boy, it does not budge. I start feeling around the area and I think it's maybe like 2 inches in there. That's not a normal splinter. So at this point, my brain goes, oh hey, maybe we should pass out now. So I call my mom, because she has all the answers, right? Well, I'm mostly calling her to be like, I may pass out. Please call 911 if I do. I truly thought I was gonna be able to pull it out, throw some alcohol and antibacterial cream on it, and be fine. My mom, of course, is like, no, you should call 911. Maybe they can take it out. And my millennial brain is like, I will never financially recover from this. And my mom, in true boomer fashion, is like, don't worry about the cost right now. Anyway, I convince myself that the EMTs will come, remove it safely, and it'll be all good. So I call 911, and then I have the first of many embarrassing conversations that day when they ask, what is your emergency? Well, I have been stabbed with a really large splinter in my butt cheek and it won't come out. This absolutely sounds like some kind of prank or sex kink gone wrong. They then transfer me to emergency services where I have to say this again. And they send out an ambulance and I wait in pain for 20 plus minutes. Granted, this is in my butt, so I can't sit down. I also don't want to get blood all over my new couch. So I'm just laying on my stomach over the chaise lounge, crying and texting my mom and my friends. Not Eric, by the way. Why? I have no idea, honestly. Mostly, I think it's because he'd only been in this new job a few weeks, and I'm like, he can't leave, he doesn't have the PTO yet, I don't want to freak him out. Okay, the EMTs finally arrive, and again, I have to explain to them what happened while they look at me very confused. The female EMT asks to take a look, and that's when she tells me it's actually about 4 inches in there, not 2. And it's a bit more than a splinter. The technical term is that I was impaled. Oh yeah, didn't think I'd have that on my medical resume. That's also when they tell me that EMTs do not remove things from the body. That is a job for the hospital and the hospital alone, for probably liability and insurance purposes. Which, fair. So they give me a couple of options. I can drive myself or get someone to drive me to an urgent care or a hospital. Or they can take me in the ambulance to the hospital. At this point, I am exhausted and in pain and feeling trapped because I do not think I can drive myself because I literally cannot sit down. I'm defeatedly like, okay, just take me to the hospital. Do you know, it costs $400+ for them to drive me 0.8 of a mile to the hospital near my apartment. Beautiful. Should have called an Uber. Anyway, I get checked in at the hospital. I wait like close to 2 hours, I think, in a hard plastic chair where I can only sit on my left butt cheek for them to finally get to me. And that's when the fun really begins, because how the heck are they gonna get this splinter out of me? Oh, and I also have to explain again what happened. And we've reached the point now where they're like, but how did this happen? And of course, I'm like, look, it wasn't my best moment. I'm a clumsy girl. I fling myself around my house all the time. I just don't usually impale myself. They give me some pain meds. I have to get a tetanus shot and they numb my butt up. And boy, I have never been so happy for shots in my life. And then an amazing nurse practitioner spends 30+ minutes trying to pry every last little broken piece of wood out of my butt so I don't get an infection. She had to make 2 incisions as illustrated by this peach, and I ultimately ended up with 14 stitches. Ow. Ooh, and they let me keep my war prize. This little thing right here. This isn't all of it, but a good portion of it. I think they might have been joking when they asked if I wanted to keep it, but I was like, no, I do actually. I want to keep it. So while this was an awful and traumatic experience, it was also stupidly hilarious in my opinion. Like, what are the odds that this would happen? Very low, I suspect. I should have bought a lottery ticket that week. And I also want to shout out Eric here. This all took place in one afternoon and evening, and then I had 2 weeks of stitches that needed to be cleaned and bandaged every day, and it was not in a place that was very easy for me to effectively take care of on my own. And I was also in a lot of pain. And even once the stitches were out, it was still another 2 weeks before I felt comfortable not wearing a bandage anymore. But Eric was the most patient and attentive and thoughtful makeshift nurse I could have ever asked for. I definitely didn't plan for him to move in and then gravely injure myself and need care, but I was so glad he was here and took his job very seriously. So yeah, if you're a subscriber and not just here for the wild story, you might have wondered what happened to Caitlin in 2023. Why didn't she make any videos except Vlogmas? And this is your answer. In part. It was the kickoff to a lot of difficult health and emotional and motivational things, so I have just not wanted to do anything really. But we can talk more about that in a later video. And if you're still here watching and you're not subscribed, hi, welcome, I'm Caitlin, and this is my channel giving advice and observations for my past self. In this case, my advice for my past self is 100% call your partner, even at his new job, and he will leave and come take you to the hospital and save you the $400 ambulance fee. And maybe don't slide across your old splintering hardwood floors. That might have prevented the whole situation. As always, if you enjoyed this video, story, whatever, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, follow me over on Instagram, however you want to show some support. And I will see you guys later. Bye!